Welcome to the Value Driven Brand Podcast, where you'll learn insights on how to communicate with authenticity, deliver genuine value, and create a memorable experience across your entire customer journey, helping your business become the sought-after leader in your industry. I'm your host, Aileen. Now, on to the show. G'day everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Value Driven Brand Podcast. I am your host, Aileen Day, and today I am joined by the amazing, the witty, the hilarious, the goddamn freaking intelligent, the woman of VC venture capital. I want to introduce to you Kate Bradley Chernis from the US. Out there in the Hudson River, not the Hudson River,
Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley. Don't be in the river. I've heard
it's defined by the river, so you're right on.
There you go. I wasn't too far away. Now, if you don't know who Kate is, well, let me introduce you to her. She is the founder and CEO of one of the most coolest AI startups that I've ever come across, and I was introduced to her and her amazing team and her work through a mutual friend of ours, David Allison from the Valley Graphics database, also someone else that I fangirl like crazy over, and now I get to fangirl all over Kate as well, because Kate has started Lately.AI, and basically what this amazing program does is it takes your long form content, online digital content, and it turns it into dozens of amazing pieces of usable, actionable, and insightful content at the click of a few buttons. So when I found out about Kate and her cool as fuck team, by the way, I just had to have her on the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us today, Kate, and which is technically it's my today, but it's your last night. So
that's right. We're bridging time.
We really
you know what? That when you had interviewed David, and when he told you about us in that interview, he sent me the video of you, and it's been this meme that we love it, because like we always say when we're pitching people like online, we'll be like, get ready to hold on to your eyeballs because they're about to pop out of your head, link. And your eyeballs actually popped out of your head. And it's the funniest thing. It's awesome because you're just like, what?
I'm gonna have to go. Oh my god, you're gonna have to send that to me. That would be hilarious. I love being a good meme. I've been a meme a few times in my career.
It made my tech team feel so good, especially, because those guys, they don't get to see what we on the front lines get to see all the time, so it was super fun. And that's like the fun thing we've noticed about our customers, by the way, is like we're bringing, there's some kind of joy that we bring just in the act of pushing that button, right? And getting it, kind of like a game. And we can see them doing it all the time. Like it's a little bit addictive, because they want to push the button and see what social posts come out of the AI, right?
Yeah.
And how wacky it'll be. So it's kind of wild.
It really is a game, isn't it? So yeah. I have very purposely not asked David too many questions about you, because I want to hear it from you. And I would love to have you share with our listeners and our watchers, our viewers, because if you didn't know, while you're listening to this, we actually also record it. So it is also going to be available for you to view on YouTube or on valuedrivenbrand.com. And if you do check out today's episode on the video, you'll be able to see that I look like I've been crying. And that's because I have. That's because Kate and I have been talking for 30 minutes prior to going live. And
you can't shut up.
We can't shut up. And we have been making each other, well, at least she has been making me cry from laughing so hard. So Um,
It's so good to, by the way, just we were talking about connecting with someone on the other side of the world and how important that is and how you can do it and have this reaction, right? Like there's nothing, I feel like we've been friends forever already. And like it's not COVID that does this, by the way. It's just people being super real, you know?
humanity.
Yeah, humanity and cutting to the quick, like, we've already
Talked about orgasms,
all kinds of things. We've gone there.
alcohol,
And how they
dating.
relate to AI. No, not that, but just kidding.
Yeah, if there was a button of TMI, we've already pushed it.
And that's the thing, by the way, that I think that brands, as you know, they are so allergic to, and it's
Mm,
so over. And how many times do we have to tell them, right? Like, just put a person out there, be real, be a little embarrassing, even just be silly or whatever it is. I was
yeah,
doing a workshop today, and I was cursing, and
my
they
favorite
were
thing to do.
mine too, and they were kind of asking me about cursing as a persona, and I was like, well, I mean, I just do, right? Like that's just the deal, and you have to either go with it or not go with it, right?
Mm,
And I'm not saying that the head of like bank of the world should be cursing on LinkedIn at all. I'm just
mm,
saying like whatever is truly you, you know,
yeah.
reveal it. It's more
Yeah,
fun,
absolutely.
right?
I think yeah, for the most part, there's a time and a place, absolutely, and certainly if you're a person of such power and responsibility, that's probably not the time or the place. But certainly, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you swear." Oh, I don't like that, and I'm like, "You swear."
Yeah.
What's the difference? Because I'm female? Like,
Yeah,
mate,
right.
I've been swearing since I was 11. This is going to be a hard nut to crack.
It
Good
is
luck
interesting,
stopping
like,
me.
yeah, what gets people like riled up, and usually I find, Aileen, that swearing or there's other things too, but that it gives people the permission to be themselves,
Yeah.
right? And that's what in marketing and in sales you're all about. Like the whole goal is for you to trust me, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And get
Authenticity.
comfortable with me. Yeah, authenticity. And so maybe swearing isn't what does it. That's totally fine. But maybe it is talking about, like, I mean, we were talking about orgasms. Yes, I'm not saying that's the one road for you to go down either, but
Look,
maybe it's
I
something.
do I do talk about the joy of sex.
There's nothing wrong with that, like, and I think it's just, being comfortable and knowing what to reveal to
Mm,
knowing your audience, knowing what to reveal, but knowing that the reveal is really the thing because it just cuts to the quick, you know?
yeah. Yeah,
And I have
absolutely.
an objective, you have an objective, we all do. There's no shame in that. Like, I want something from whoever
Hmm,
usually I'm working with, right?
yeah.
Something. Maybe I want my husband to make dinner or
Well done, David.
I want to close the sale, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and I need to get there safely and quickly with whoever it is. So
Yeah.
finding that uncomfortable, I
Mm,
think, is like
yeah.
that's the magic that makes you a fan,
Yes.
right?
And can I just say, I am a raving fan, raving fan. But I want to know, I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit. You're a woman heading into the world of venture capital. How did you get there? How did Lately become Lately? What happened?
Yeah, it's a wild story that if I didn't have the wisdom I have now, it would seem like a big old zigzag, but it's actually a straight line. You know what I mean? Um, so so I used to be a rock and roll DJ, Aileen.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cool.
My last gig was broadcasting to 20 million listeners for XM satellite radio
Wow.
here in the States. Yeah, it was wild ride, and it was a boys' club. That's just radio is, and the culture of sexual harassment was constant, and I didn't actually even know it was wrong, to be honest with you. I
Mm.
participated in it. It was just normal, which tells you about something, right? Um, but I was consistently disregarded or devalued, or my ideas weren't taken seriously, or I wasn't given the credit. And that was very frustrating to me. And I didn't understand why. It was a hostile work environment, but we didn't know what that was. That wasn't no one had that language to put on the situation,
Yeah.
right? And of course, I thought it was me because I was being gaslit. So I'm running through my mind all the time. What am I doing wrong here? When I wasn't doing anything wrong, but my body was trying to tell me something. It was trying to say, get the fuck out of this. And I wasn't
Yeah.
listening, and I kept not listening. And I had all these ailments. And then finally I was actually incapacitated. I couldn't type or touch a phone
Wow.
without, without any excruciating pain. Right. But I looked normal. And so XM didn't believe me. So I hired an intern to type. I mean, my whole job was typing. We were hand mixing songs and recording. Like I needed a keyboard, So I hired an intern to work for me because they wouldn't. And then they disallowed that because it was like security or whatever the fuck. And then I learned about Dragon Naturally Speaking, which is a voice activated software, which is what I use today, actually. So I don't type at all.
Yeah.
And Dragon was very young back then. It's now the thing that powers Siri, but before this was unheard of. And I found one. There were three experts in the country. One of them was in Washington D.C. Amazingly, where I was. I didn't have any money because I was in radio, and you didn't really make any money. But I had CDs, so I paid her. Yeah, a couple hundred CDs, which is amazing. Because it's like learning a new language. And so I did that, but my body was still, panic attacks. I couldn't sleep, like all this stuff was happening. And I was terrified. I was doing everything, Western, Eastern medicine I could figure out. So I took a new job also in music up here where I live. And it was the same different day. Another boys club didn't believe me and was devaluing my opinion, which they had hired me for. It was very frustrating.
I remember
So
those
you know the
things.
feeling. Yeah, right. And I'm not saying all men are bad or anything like that. This is just my
No,
experience.
no.
But so I was crying a lot. I sucked as a person. I used to smoke, love smoking. I was smoking all the time. All I talked about was how much I hated my job, right? So toxic, you know. I
I've
was
just got an image of you just going.
I love smoking. I miss smoking, but I don't want to die of that. But yeah. Oh, it was so good. Nat Sherman's is what I did.
I used to do that. I used to say to my team, step into my office, and it was under a massive oak tree, and I'd just stand there and smoke while they complained.
Step into my
so you
office.
think that's their fault? Interesting.
There it goes. I know. And I decided to graduate from Marlboro, whatever they were, because I was like, yeah, if I'm going to smoke, I figured I might as well smoke really good stuff. So that's why I did Nat Sherman's, and those were really expensive, but they tasted so good. So anyways, here I am, and I go to my parents for the weekend, and I'm miserable. And my dad has it, and he shakes me by the shoulders and says, "You can't work for other people, and there's no shame in that." I was like, oh, and he was very insightful, Aileen, because he hit on two things. The obvious one was I didn't have to work for anybody but myself, and I didn't realize that was an option. But the other one was the shame, because that is what I felt. I felt this deep shame, like I couldn't. Why wasn't I getting an A plus? I was doing A plus work,
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And
Is
so
that the
I
little
felt
people pleaser in you?
not a much of people pleaser, but when the rules are clear and I'm following the rules and I'm not getting credit for following the rules, that makes me mad. I don't like it when the rules change
Oh,
and they're secret.
What
You know
did
what I mean?
someone say that to me the other day? Good girl syndrome. The good girl syndrome. I was like, what? And they said, you've got a good girl syndrome. You
Good
think
girl
that if you
syndrome.
follow the rules that you do well, that you should win. And I was like, yeah.
It's a syndrome?
I was like, that's a syndrome? They're like, yeah. They're like, fuck the rules. Like,
Isn't that a human syndrome? That's
okay.
just so stupid.
Well, she was specifically talking to me at the time. There was no other people. But yeah, so a good person syndrome. Yeah, I understand. And then the rules change and you're like, what the hell?
I don't like it when they change and it's a secret. That's what I feel like the club does. No, it's not always boys. There's a girls club too, but
Mm,
the club changes the rules and they change the goalposts. They move the goalposts on you. And that's not fair not for
mm.
me, for anybody. Um, so I read a self-help book, which was crap, but it did its job.
Won't ask
The
you which one then.
The Secret, remember? But it was such a
Oh, The
poorly written book.
Secret.
The Secret, yeah. Remember
Okay.
that?
I've not read it, but I do
Don't
know of
bother.
it.
I'll
Okay,
tell you
good.
the
Good.
yeah,
One less
it's
book
one
to
line,
read.
which is manifest destiny is all it says. So like
Ah,
if
yeah, I got
right.
that.
Yeah. That's the secret, right? So here I am saying I hate my life, smoking, all that I'm manifesting is toxic, like just
Toxic.
yeah, not anger, all those things. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to have a little refresh here. And it was hard because I would complain at work with people. We'd go out and smoke and complain, and so I had to stop doing that. And then my husband, who was my boyfriend then, very thoughtful, and he ran right out to the bookstore because we had those, and he got me a well-known startup book, entrepreneur book called The Art of the Start, which is Guy Kawasaki's book.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so I started reading that, and I read like somewhere in the first or second chapter, Guy says, don't make a plan, just get started. And
Mm,
I thought, well, then I don't need this book. And I tossed it, right? Because those books are really good for inspiration, but they can't possibly, there's no map for what I'm doing. So I saw
mm.
that, okay. And then literally the next day I met my first angel investors. I didn't know they were angels. They came to take me to lunch to deliver a product that was unusual. Normally people would mail it, but they were fans of mine from XM,
Ah,
which is
nice.
crazy. Yeah. And so we had lunch, and they said, we want to give you $50,000 to start a company. Let's do it. Yeah. And my David was like, I just gave you that book. What happened? It's like, I don't know, I like these guys. We're going to do a thing. We didn't even know what we were going to do. Right. So it was a music thing. And
Wow.
as we were marketing that thing, someone else came along and said, hey, you're really good at marketing. Would you consult us and we'll pay you a lot more money, and you don't have to be in the music industry anymore, which I didn't want to be in anymore. I need to be done with that. But I didn't
Mm,
know how to get out. And that was the Walmart project. So suddenly I'm working with the National Disability Institute, the IRS here in America, Bank of America, AT&T, and the Walmart Foundation.
wow.
And I went in there in my radio style, which is not polished. And I was like, wow, this is a fucking mess. What are you guys doing? you know? And I built them a spreadsheet system that got us 130% ROI year over year for 3 years,
Wow.
which was the idea behind Lately, which is the very long answer
Ooh.
to your question.
Ooh. I see.
Yeah. So, and all those things. So by the way, the AI is actually the bedrock of it is built from social posts that I write, my writing, right, which it learns from. And my writing comes from what I learned in radio about making fans into evangelists, because I was number one in a few areas, which is very rare in the radio format we did. And it's unheard of, actually,
Wow.
because I broke the rules. And number one,
See? Fuck the rules.
fuck the rules. I knew what they were, though. That's the thing. They were very
Yeah,
clear,
it
so
helps.
that's a difference. But then I also, the format we were in, it's called adult album alternative. So it's the whole album, it's album rock like you would have at home, mixed with blues and jazz and reggae and soul and folk and other things. But when new music comes in, you're supposed to couch it into older music. So there's this familiarity, just like sales,
Oh,
right? I'm going to sell you
yeah.
something new, make you trust me by making you understand how it's familiar in those touch points, right?
Yeah.
So what's cool is the the neuroscience of music tells us that when your brain listens to a song, it has to instantly remember every other song you've ever heard before in order to index that song in its mind library here, right? Which is, think about that. So in an instant, all this nostalgia comes rushing forth, and which is why you feel such great emotion with music.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
mhm. right? So this is cool. So remember I said the zigzag line seems straight. So when you're reading text, you hear a voice, right? You do. And it's my job to make sure that voice is the one I want you to hear, right? So all the little writing copy tricks that I learned, I was a fiction writing major in college, you know? Yeah, they all tied together. And so Lately's AI, by the way, so Lately's the only social media management platform that creates content for you, okay? And we do it in a way, and I can talk you through the details, but the idea is to give you a leg up. So it's starting you at third base, if we're going to use an American metaphor here.
Yeah, no, we get it.
All right. So like,
Yeah.
you know, that's pretty hard getting all the way around to third base, right?
Yeah.
You can take a whole inning.
Yeah.
And then we give the human the opportunity to take it home and actually get the run, get the evangelist, right? Get the run, because the AI and the human can work together. And so you get copy that you don't have to guess at. We know your customers are going to want to engage with. So to the tune of 12,000% increased engagement, right?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
It doesn't mess around, right?
Go hard or go home.
Yeah. That stat, by the way, is from, do y'all know who Gary V is? Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah, we know that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He gets around.
He gets around. He's a really nice man, by the way. And he's our customer and our friend. And
Yes.
yeah. And
I saw when he tweeted about you guys. I was like,
so nice,
next
right?
level.
Yeah. This is about this life, I believe, is about lifting others up, right? And you can only lift them up when you're on top. So you have to, even people you don't like, if they're above you, you have to somehow get them to lift you up, because that's the deal, you know?
Stand on the
And
shoulder of giants.
yeah, that's it. And so, you know, as I move up, as you move up, as Gary moves up, take the next person along,
Yeah.
just, one rung. So anyways, yeah, so Gary launched an entire Twitter channel fueled 100% by our AI lately. And he gets that because he feeds the brain so much content so it can learn, right?
Yeah.
Because he has videos and blogs and all the things. You guys have heard of the pillar method from Gary, like repurpose. So that's the idea for us. Push a button, we'll turn this podcast into 100 mini movie trailers, video clips with whatever cool phrase you and I have said today. It'll find the best ones, give you the option to edit it, and then you schedule them out over time for like drip feed marketing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is amazing. Absolutely
So
amazing.
I told you it was a long story.
No, but I love that from just these, like, mentally horrendous beginnings and what became physically horrendous beginnings, you have just found a way to pull yourself up the ladder and bring so many other people with you and deliver a product that is like bar none. I did some homework, right? I can't find another product that does this.
Yeah.
There is not another product available that does what Lately does. And to be honest, normally in these podcasts, we don't put too much emphasis on the guests,
Make a commercial,
business or products or whatever. It's more about their insights and advice. But Lately blows my mofo mind. Like, I can't fathom how it even does what it does. But for those using it, you would just be, as you said, it gives you that opportunity to create such levels of engagement that your customers want it. So when we do talk about delivering a value-driven brand, that absolutely just goes hand in hand. Especially, like, if I think about the average business person's life spent creating content. Oh, what a goddamn drain it is.
Yeah, it is a drain. Like that's what pissed me off because at the Walmart project, nobody wanted to write social posts for Walmart because the approval process was a freaking nightmare. But
Mm,
we had all this long form content that people were creating that they were hiring consultants like me to write. So they were spending a lot of money and time on videos and blogs and one pagers and all this kind of stuff. And then
mm,
it would get wasted. Like maybe somebody would write, one announcement, check out this blog. Blah. And I was like, this is crazy. Let's just go through every sentence. Each sentence in here could act as a teaser, like a movie trailer, like a
mm,
little insight. And then we'll
yep.
put a link on the end of it. Maybe might have to massage if it starts with a weird word or something, but whatever.
Mm,
And because it was always more interesting than the title. The title was like Walmart lifts, 54 million Americans out of poverty. Nobody cared about that, right?
yeah.
And sort of have some mystery there. And so I would like find 40 sentences that were pretty awesome, put a link on, and boom, done. And then Walmart would approve it because they already had, right? So that's the best part is it's not like it's not writing anything new. It's literally looking for the top quotes
Yeah.
um, that it knows your customers will like.
Click on.
The
Yeah.
the the part this is I know you're going to ask me this question, but we're going to talk about walking the talk. The reason that this matters is because a couple things. Number one, the AI and the human we know on the product has to work together for the zing to happen,
Mm,
right? This is about trust and engagement, all these things. This is how we treat each other internally, by the way. So AI and humans and we run on compassion and trust in my team. I told you earlier that 95% of my team wasn't paid for 2 years.
yeah.
2 years. They slogged with me. They bled with me, Aileen, right?
Mm,
And the way we treat each other, and that's not accidental, right? I worked hard to get them to do that for me.
yeah.
Like I I talk to people, I call them, I follow all their socials. I know when it's the anniversary of Chris's dad's suicide, right? Like all these kinds of things that are we matter and we have 2 meetings a week. That's all we have. And in those 2 meetings, I take the time to like, laugh and like someone's dog is coming in. We talk about the dog or whatever it is, like to just really engage.
Yeah.
All my team comes and spends the night on the floor in my living room once a year. And we're not young, you know,
Slumber parties.
slumber party.
I
Yeah.
love it.
It's so much fun. And this is the way we treat our customers too, whether it's David, Allison, or Gary V, right?
Yeah.
We don't treat the small customers any different than the large customers. And by the way, there's a lot of people who don't like that. Like they don't want to do a demo. I'm like, hey, if you don't want to take the time to get to know us, we can't take the time to get to know you. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna, treat you like family if or don't be my customer. That's
Yes.
just the jam, right?
Yes.
And the effect is, we're a little engine that could. I had no money to do paid ads. I had to kill that. And we stopped doing cold calls and cold emails about a year ago. And we decided to only use Lately for all lead generation, nothing else. And in the last year, I increased our monthly recurring revenue from $25,000 to $87,000 in a global pandemic. It fucking works, right?
Boom.
We have a 98% conversion rate. 98%, right?
And
And it's
that,
because
folks, is the proof in the pudding.
yeah, and it's because of and sorry to keep talking about like this is the depth that this is the scale the unscalable. Gary said this on a Clubhouse chat the other day, and that's what we're doing. I know that it's the hard way. I know that it's the hard way, but the hard way works,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that the hard way's worked time and time again. But
Yeah.
certainly, I would envisage that your customers don't see it being the hard way in comparison to how they used to do their content
No, they
creation.
don't. But
So,
it's so funny, like that the little work that is required, people still don't want to do that, and we disqualify them, because
yeah,
you can't just push a button and have it all happen for you. That marketing, there's work,
yeah, yeah. There's got to be. I mean, and to be honest, like which way am I pointing? This way. So I talk about the customer, employee, and the human experience, right? So the joy of sex. So,
Awesome.
but but that human experience still needs to be a part of your marketing strategy. Because I mean, even though you've already created that content and there is a piece of you in that work, you need to still be that ultimate decision maker. And I'm certain that the AI aspect is growing and learning and always developing and producing amazing outputs. But from a human perspective and a customer experience kind of perspective, I want to know that there's a human behind all of these decisions, and that tells me a lot about the business that I am consuming as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah, because that's that trust piece, right? I
yeah.
mean, 100%. It's been really what's the word I'm going to say? Rewarding, I guess, to watch my team grow in this way. So
Mm.
Chris, Ankit, and Lauren, and now Kristen, none of them have a sales background. None of them.
Mm.
And and we hit our million ARR, annual recurring revenue, about 10 days ago with my
Yes.
sales team that doesn't know how to sell, right?
Congratulations, by the
Yeah.
way. That
Yeah,
is
thanks.
amazing. Do you want to tell people what
Yeah, it's
ARI
hard to
is?
say, isn't it?
So
ARR.
many acronyms.
It's annual recurring revenue. So it's like your membership at the gym or Netflix, right? Those are recurring revenues.
Yes.
And so they're predictable, you know, um, and they're bankable, right? So it's called the industry we are in is called SaaS, software as a service,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot of venture capitalists only invest in SaaS because of MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or ARR, the annual recurring revenue, right? And so it just puts you. It's a milestone that's hard to achieve, really. It it says that there's no uncertainty about what's called product market fit, right?
Yes.
That people want this product. And we're in this weird place where, for so long, like I said, I wrote this on LinkedIn one day, you're doing it wrong, me, but it's working. Which I love because we've
Oh,
we've been nimble enough to watch the industry change and all the quote procedures that investors have been shoving down my throat and telling me is the way to do it. They've
yeah.
never worked for us. And we keep going back and trying them and then getting frustrated. And then, when we just decided not to,
Mm.
last year, that in combination with a couple of other things really, changed our life. And I'm not used to this, by the way, Aileen. I'll be up my team's ass in a meeting and they're like, can you relax? Like, this is awesome.
Crawl back out, lady.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry. You're right. Because I'm so used to being in this state of total fear,
Mm.
total
Mm.
fear. And like Chris, one of my sales geniuses, also a ex rock and roll DJ too. That's how we know each other. He was being interviewed by somebody and they asked him, what's it like working for a startup? And he said, it's like awful, awful, awful. Oh, some good news.
Chris is your CX guy, yeah?
Yeah. So
Yes, great.
he's sales. Yeah,
Yeah.
sales and customer service.
Yeah.
We're small enough where all the roles kind of bleed out. He's also a social animal,
Yeah.
so he's doing marketing, and it probably won't always be that way, but right now it's pretty nice because, again, this is walking the talk, right? So the
Mm.
customer, I don't allow for any threads in our Slack channel because I want everyone, even the engineering team, to see what the problems are in real life, because a lot of times I was a line cook, so I know what it's like kitchens, Waitrons versus the kitchen, right? I know what that's
Yeah,
like. Right?
yeah.
Because you don't have an appreciation of the other side. So
Yeah.
it's they might not believe me saying we're having this experience with the product, the customers are pissed off about it, but they can see it coming through the tickets on Zendesk and Slack, for
Yeah.
example. And so it's been that empathy, that compassion, right? How we treat our customers. So every customer, I'm just talking in a circle here, every customer or target that we meet, my brand manager follows them on all of our brand socials, but then we have an intern invite them to my LinkedIn as a
Right.
contact as well, right? With the message that I wrote,
Yep.
because there's so many. And so we watch you, right? We watch what you're doing. This helps us to see how you're using our product. Yes, also, but also it informs us about your life. Like I know
Right.
when it's someone's birthday or, when they hit this milestone or the book got released or whatever it is. And we have we call it sharing is caring. We have a sharing is caring channel in our Slack that we all pile onto. So it's sometimes, a lot of the time it's to promote my stuff.
Mm.
When you push this live and you put a LinkedIn link, it's going to go in sharing, caring, and all the team has to like and comment on it to push it up. That's what we
Right.
do, you know.
Yes.
But we do it for our customers too, because we want you to win. You win,
Yes.
we win,
Oh my
right?
God. Sharing
Yeah.
really is caring.
Yes, because it is, even with like
Mm.
today, actually, Katie, my brand manager, she posted, she's like, hey, looks like our customer Damien had a bum day the other day, and he tweeted about some haters hating his content, and like, I just popped right over. I was like, who's hating on you, right? That's
You tell mama.
Yeah, we got you back, right?
Oh, I love that. Oh my God. God,
Thanks.
I already loved you guys, but for reals.
Thank you.
Oh, my heart. My heart. There's so much love.
Thanks. And
I
this is,
just
by the way, I wanted to
like it really
sorry, I want to
is.
say really quickly, like this is how we can lift people up when we're not necessarily on top, Aileen,
Yes.
right? Just by
Yes.
like saying, do it this way. This is a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, they all coincide with delivering a value driven brand. Just every single piece of those insights. And this might be the first podcast that I've recorded that I've not actually had to say. So this is the value driven brand, and we're going to talk about because you guys just do this. This is just who you are, and that to me is so, to be blunt, fucking exciting.
Thank you.
That I am so thrilled that I got to learn about you guys, and from none other than our mutual fan,
You're the best.
David Allison.
I'm so proud of that, by the way. Like I don't mean to sound like a mom to my team so much, and like I don't mean to, you know, but like I'm proud of them and I'm proud of us. And even if we didn't hit 1 million ARR, I would be proud because
Mm,
we get punched in the face every day, and like it's not just me, they do too,
yeah,
right? But it that and again, it's not just touchy feely. We're not just doing this to be nice. Everybody wants to win big and make money.
of course.
That's there, right?
Yeah,
But like
yeah,
I said, this is the hard way, and people don't really want to do the hard way. But this is how you scale. I believe. I mean, when we first started, because I know marketing and I know that it's the one business um, enterprise that bleeds into every aspect, whether it's HR or accounting or product or engineering or customer service, whatever it is.
mm,
If the message internally is understood and clear, there's no confusion, right?
correct.
Then we all can walk the walk and talk the talk outside, right?
Yeah,
And there's no um, misunderstanding of
yeah,
what we stand for or what we want.
yeah. A nice, clear vision and purpose, which also goes towards creating a value driven brand. It's usually the first step in any of the mentoring that I do with businesses. It's usually the first step of the process is to ascertain what their actual purpose, what's their internal message, what's their vision for their brand. How are you going to get people to walk the talk with you? How are you going to influence people to stick around and be by your side for 2 years through thick and thin when they don't have to? How are you going
Yeah.
to make that a reality? How are you going to earn the big bucks? Because before you earn the big bucks, you've got to do the hard yards.
Yeah, and it's funny, like so on purpose, I started marketing in the beginning of the company, which most entrepreneurs think of as an afterthought, right?
Mm,
Because I knew that you can't say, oh, we're having a sale when you have no audience to tell that to, right? So I knew that, and I knew to build that, and I know it takes a long time to build that network, right?
mm,
And I had a network from radio, so I knew I could kind of figure out how to transfer that, or at least use it as a jumping point.
yeah.
But what I still didn't know was how to be my authentic self, right? I was learning it on the job, and one of Marat, one of our investors, an accelerator, kept saying to me, "Just be yourself," and I had it as a toss away, right? I was like, "Duh," what does that mean? You Sesame Street my ass? Like, I don't need that, right? But I wasn't listening. I wasn't really understanding what he was saying, because like I was just telling this to somebody else today. I would go to these venture capital meetings and, like a suit, my little leather case, because I was
Looking the
trying to be
part.
somebody, yeah, look the part, whatever the part is.
Yeah.
And then after one day, I just listened to him and I was like, oh, I wear cowboy boots and jeans and rock t-shirts. That's who I am. I'm going to fucking wear that and I'm going to swear. And if they tell me something that I think is idiotic, I'm going to tell them that it's idiotic, and I'm not going to get, you know, I'm, I could see myself, I was doing this, and I do this consistently. It's like a lesson I have to keep learning. Even last year, I put myself in a position where I'm the student and they're the teacher, which is not it.
Mm,
We're in a business deal. I'm equal as you. And someone actually
correct.
noticed, um, Kayla, one of our customers, she's very smart. She noticed that it's not like this now, but it was, where I had my screen up high like this. So you're
Oh,
looking
so
down
they're
at me?
looking down at you.
No shit. She saw that.
Oof.
Very astute. Yeah.
Oof.
I was doing it myself, right?
That self sabotage.
Yeah.
Literally just started writing a blog on it.
Oh, guilty.
Wow. Yeah. So before I let you go, because we have talked about walk the talk, and we've talked about um, sharing is caring, but there were a couple of other things that you pointed out to me, and I want to most certainly know what they are. So consider me the student.
You're so funny.
Teach me, Yoda. What does upend the norm? What does that mean?
Ah, right. So remember, you're doing it wrong, but it's working.
Right.
Yeah. So so one of the things that, and I'm not saying this doesn't work for some companies, but it just wasn't working for us. So,
Mm,
with the general way that you grow SaaS startups in venture land, and you want to grow fast, that's the whole thing, right? They don't like it when you take in me. So like that's a check against me. It's taken me some time to have this hockey stick going on, right?
right.
Isn't it amazing? Doesn't matter that I got the fucking hockey stick, but it took too long, you know?
Ugh.
Anyways, it took so long because I'm working 98% harder than white dudes named Chris, right? I mean, that's the jam. So anyways, there's two ways typically to go about doing that. One is you spend a lot of money on paid ads marketing, right? And we did that. It did not work for us. It was just a wash, and it wasn't engaging, and the world was changing. I could see
Mm,
that. We did this experiment about 3 years ago, and we spent a lot of money. And we brought someone in to help us too, and it was like, just wasn't the right fit for the company. Not the person was great, but like the whole, strategy.
mm,
And then the other way that you do it is you hire a bank of SDRs, so sales development reps, and they cold call and cold email their little heinies off.
yeah.
And I hate that.
I
I
hate that.
hate You hate that. It's Nobody likes this. And I just didn't want to do it. I mean, we tried it and it just felt like a slog,
Mm,
So we were talking about, we'd gone to dinner with someone from his team, and they said that there was a new strategy at VaynerMedia because they were so tired of cold calls and cold emails as well, and that they were going to look at people who were in their network, like in their social network, who were liking and commenting and sharing as warm leads. And I was like,
Right.
well, that's a great idea. I can do that. So we do. So the content, the AI knows what content is going to get your goat, right? That's its job. So when you like, comment, or share my content, you're a warm lead. And we chat with you, we move you into a DM, and we ask you to get a demo. And that's why the conversion rate part of it is so high,
Right.
because you're a hot lead by then. You trust me, you like me, you know something about me. I know a lot about you, right?
Yeah.
We're friends. We're
Yeah.
friends. So not doing those two things has worked for us,
Yeah.
and it really makes people uncomfortable. You know, they don't like it when you're not following um, whatever the
Following
path.
the old
Yeah,
classic ways of selling tactics.
yeah, and it's lucky for me, as we were already understanding this and changing our ways, the world changed with
Mm.
COVID, and part of that helped us because there was a new mindset shift. People are more open to trying new things because they had to, right? And this thing that we're preaching, like, people have asked me, they almost never ask me now, but they used to always ask me, well, why would I want to publicize something more than once? And I'm like, have you heard radio? We play you the same song 300 times in 1 week, hoping you'll hear it once, right? You know what I mean.
Oh, bless their cotton socks.
That's a good one.
Oh,
No.
goodness.
Yeah. So
Look,
anyways,
not
it's
everyone
been
in
exciting.
business is made out for marketing.
No, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But it's so interesting
Oh,
to feel. I mean, that's the one
crying.
thing. A lot of awful things are happening, of course, and
Mm,
I recognize that and see it. And thank God every day for the position we have. And I'm trying to give money to people and employ people and all those, do all that I can do,
yeah.
But the one thing that has been exciting is to see that mindset shift and to see the inventiveness that people are, whether it's, like I said, the restaurants here, how they're figuring out to serve us a safe dinner outdoors when it's 20 degrees out
Yeah.
and we're willing to go
Yeah.
in all of our long johns and everything else,
Yeah. You
um,
say 20 degrees. For those listening, she means Fahrenheit, which is
I do.
cold.
Cold as
Because
F.
20 degrees here is perfect.
Yeah, right. I do. Exactly. It's going to be 6 degrees. So for Valentine's Day here, which is why I'm wearing this shirt, even though it won't be Valentine's when this airs. That's fine. You can feel the love right now. She's on red, I'm on pink.
Absolutely.
You know, and we're going to dinner at one of those places outdoors Saturday night, and it's supposed to be 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna do it though. You know.
Goodness me. Your
Yeah.
hot meals. I want to know how they keep the meals hot.
They manage. Well, they put a heater inside, so it's a single tent with one opening for you and your guest, or if it's a family, and there's a heater and a fan, so it keeps the tent actually quite warm because the heat
Oh,
doesn't escape off the roof, but you have the breeze through the open air, the open thing there. Yeah, and it's just just to have some kind of special moment of, and
I
also just to see other people, just to
yeah.
see a human, not with a in full. I mean, they're in full garb, but it's not like you're at the grocery store and you're like mission,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
You can actually communicate and socialize.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, talk to me about the golden rule. I feel like we're leaving the best for last. What is the golden
Oh,
rule?
yeah. It's do unto others, right? Where it's everything. Again, it's walk the talk. It's all sharing is
Oh,
caring. It's all in there, right? So like we're talking about it, mostly esoterically, but like also here's a practical way. So when I was at XM, we were broadcasting across our country, and there's, I don't know, 5 time zones. And so we just decided, all right, we're just going to do East and Pacific times. So, 12 p.m. East, 9 a.m. Pacific when we were
yeah.
talking about shows and things like that. So I got in that habit. And I noticed that I can't do math. I was a fiction writing major, bad at
Same.
math.
I'm like, I do math.
It's so hard.
I do people and English and language and not math.
Yeah, and know thyself, right?
Yeah,
And so one of the things I teach my team is like to always put that, whether it's on the social media, or when we have team members in all over the world now, actually, to just do their best to like be like, that's 9 a.m. my time, 3 p.m. your time,
yeah,
right? And so that's just to do unto others thing, is to just assume that the person on the other hand, like, is going to be like, oh God, what is that? You know, and to even any message you're writing, like we talked about, reading a text and hearing the voice, right? So like
yeah.
when I write normally, just normal writing, I have a resting bitch face in writing. I'm a bitch. I have to just like, you know what I'm saying? I have to emoji it up like crazy. I have to. I know this.
I feel like we might be sisters.
I mean, this is what it's about though, right? Like, and so because I know that, like, I'm thinking of all these things. I'm thinking, first of all, what's my objective? I want to get something from you. There's no shame in that, right? But the best way to get it is going to be, this way. It's usually kill them with kindness. Like I was telling somebody else this today. My favorite is when someone is so rude to you, and like you just really want to be like, go fuck yourself. But instead you just say, oh my God, you are awesome. All capital letters with a heart.
It kills them. It makes them
Yeah.
so angry. I
They
think I
apologize to
said
you
that on a
usually.
tweet the other day.
Yeah.
Someone was talking about dealing with horrible, rude people. And I said, I love being lovely to horrible, rude people. I used to all the time when I worked in retail, and people would
Oh
just walk
yeah.
past, and we had a position called the door greeter at
Mm-hmm.
Bunnings, which is like Home Depot, and you'd stand on the door and people would walk in and you'd go, morning, how you going? And they'd go, fucking terrible. And you'd be like, oh, well, hope your day gets better. Or
It's
you'd have
amazing.
customers come up and they'd go, I don't like that you've got no stock and you're crap and you can't do your job. And you'd be like, all right, well, I'll get that sorted for you. And they'd still be unhappy by the end of it. And you go, okay, well, have a wonderful day.
There you go.
Because what are they going to say? She was too nice to me.
Yeah, right. She was too
That
nice, that
bitch.
bitch. Jinx, we said that at the same time. That's so funny.
Mind you,
It's so
the day
true.
I did have a customer throw a can of paint at my head,
Oh my
I,
God, did they
I
hit
wasn't
you?
so nice that day.
Did they hit you?
It literally flew past my face.
Thank God. Oh my
Yeah.
God, that would you could concussed you.
Oh, yeah, I would have probably. Yeah, I don't actually. That was a
Awful.
day.
Well, that person is an asshole.
That was a go home and drink tequila day.
But that's like, the thing we're saying is that most of the time, if you just remember that people are coming from some other place, whether
Yeah.
it's your staff or your customer or your husband or your son or, whoever it is, or a stranger,
Mm,
especially a stranger at a store, right? Something has happened in their day. Maybe they got stuck in traffic. Maybe their mom has cancer, you don't know what it is. And like, just assuming that going into anything, right? Or ask enough questions so you can find out, right? That's
yeah.
why like I said, I follow my staff on social, as I need to know when something's happening. I need to know what it is, and it's not them, like if suddenly, Lauren would never do this, but if suddenly like Lauren disappears from Slack all day, I'm going to be like, what the fuck is going on? Where are you? Are you
Yeah.
slacking? I
Yeah.
mean, like, are you like shirking,
Are
you
you
know?
off Slack?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like, it's better to just actually call her up and say, hey, is everything okay today?
Yeah. Yeah, for
Do
sure.
unto others, right?
Do unto others. Absolutely. I fucking love that. I think they are so many amazing insights in how you specifically have created a value driven brand, and to
Thank you.
hit those milestones, to have the customers that you have, to have the raving fans that you have, tells me everything I need to know about the legitimacy of the value that you do deliver. And to have you on here and sharing those insights from one of the coolest startup companies, SaaS companies I've ever had anything to do with, has just been my absolute privilege. In this situation, I am certainly the student, and you are the teacher. But it has been such an absolute joy to have you come and join us on this podcast. But before I let you go, now, for the most part, if you have listened to these podcasts before, you might know that I ask all of my guests to submit one song that pumps them up for anything. And season 2 of the Value Driven Brand podcast is no different. We are building that list, because what happens is when every guest gives me that song that pumps them up for anything, I add that to a special playlist that then we share with you, our listeners and viewers and our lovers and our followers and our advocates and our raving fans, to make sure that you can be pumped up for anything as well. So, Kate, do you remember the song that you submitted?
Was it the Damwells?
It was the Damwells.
That's my husband's band, by the way.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and it's him playing guitar on that.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, that's why it pumps me up, because like I know it. You know, they were our first. They were our favorite record of the year when I worked for XM. That record.
That is so cool.
Before. Yeah.
Well, the Damwells' "I Am a Lever" is to be added to the Spotify playlist. And when this podcast, well, we do prod.
It's a productive cast. It's a podcast. Oh,
it's a podcast.
Not that kind of prodding.
This podcast, when this podcast goes live, the Damwells will be our newest addition to the Spotify playlist. So thank you so much. I want to thank you because I know it is getting late over there, and David is probably trying to keep dinner warm for you.
He's texting me. My pants have been buzzing.
Well, it is nearly Valentine's Day.
Indeed.
So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. It has been legitimately like the highlight of my year already, and so wonderful to finally get to meet you, talk to you, and I hope that it is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And for those of you who are interested in following and learning more about Lately, when you go and track down this podcast at valuedrivenbrand.com, you will also find the links to be able to connect with Kate and her team, and you will also find the links to try your own demo for for you to make your life bloody easier. Let's be honest. So if that sounds like something that you need to make happen, to create value and become that value-driven brand that you know you deserve to be, then please go to valuedrivenbrand.com/podcast series, and you'll find this podcast and all the links to Kate and her amazing program that she has so successfully given to the world. And it is a pleasure to hang out with you today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you. That's it from us today. I will be back next week, but till then, make sure that you go out and deliver value to somebody else in your life, because what goes around comes around. I'm Aileen Day. Till next time. Thanks for listening to the Value Driven Brand podcast with your host, Aileen Day. Is your business struggling to become known as the sought-after leader in your industry? Access our Value Driven Brand quiz and special 3-part podcast series to identify the gaps and what you need to focus on first. Go to www.valuedrivenbrand.com/podcast series. That's valuedrivenbrand.com/podcast series. Tune in next time where we discuss more ideas on how you can deliver your own value-driven brand.